few years back, I did a TED Talk, and I immediately vowed never to do it again. The reason is, they had a big clock in front of me, counting down from 18 to 0. And they said, at 0, you have to stop. And I need around 18 minutes to get warmed up. And here I am, and there's the clock. 2 steps to the not to, exploring, understanding, and applying Advaita Vedanta, all in 20 minutes. I was saying, what was I thinking? But we'll give it a fair try. This year is interesting for me because I'm at Harvard for 1 year. And in fact, I flew in from Boston yesterday. And I'm studying a lot of Advaita Vedanta and Indian Tibetan Buddhism of the Madhyamaka, Shunyavada kind. And we have 2 classes on Tuesday. First 3 hours of Tibetan Buddhism, Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti and Tsongkhapa and others, telling us in tremendous detail, extraordinary analysis, that the self does not exist. You do not have a self. And after that, the next class is Professor Clooney's Introduction to the Upanishads. For 3 more hours, you're told that the self is absolute. Can you imagine the whiplash? Oh, Swami Brahmananda is there. The Advaita Vedanta, these are the original non-duality guys. 5,000 years ago, the Upanishads is speaking about non-duality. And the amazing thing is, when I study Madhyamaka Buddhism, the Buddhism of emptiness of selves, and then Advaita Vedanta, literally one after the other, where the self is the absolute, both of them are speaking in the same language of non-duality. If you actually translate into English, they're literally saying the same things, using almost the same words, the same examples, the same language, the same philosophical arguments. And yet one says, no self. And the other one says, self is absolute. They are saying the same thing. Though, I know any number of lamas and Sanskrit pandits who would throw up their arms in horror. Because from the Tibetan Buddhist side, from the emptiness people, they will say, this, what they are saying in Advaita Vedanta, it's wrong. They're saying that the self is a thing. And the Advaita Vedantins, I know what they will say. They'll immediately say, these are nihilists. They're saying nothing exists. But the truth, as the Madhyamakas would have it, lies in between. Both are right and both are wrong. The way I put it this way, the way to misunderstand Advaita Vedanta is to think that the self is a thing. No, that's not right. And the way to misunderstand emptiness is to think that the self is nothing. That's also not true. So the way I would like to put it is, it's not a thing, it's not nothing, it is no thing. No thing. And this no thing is what we are going to talk about for the next, now I have 16 minutes, okay. There are 2 steps to understanding the not to. We will first go into the first step, and then inevitably into the next one, and that will be it. The unique thing about Advaita Vedanta, and again, of course, Madhyamaka Buddhism, is that the spiritual journey here, it's not a journey in space. You're not supposed to go from here to some heaven or some other place, a pure land or heaven or something. No, it's right here. It's not a journey in time that over the years and over the centuries, over lifetimes, you become that or you realize that. No, it's right now. Right here, right now. It's not even a journey from yourself to something else. Brahman, God, Allah, the void. No. It's just you. It is I, me, myself. So it's not a journey in space. It's not a journey in time. It's not a journey from self to the other. It's right here, right now, and you yourself. Then what is it a journey? What kind of a journey is it? It's a journey from not knowing to knowing, from not realizing to realizing, from ignorance to knowledge. Now that being said, if it is right here, if it is right now, and if it is I, it should be possible to experience it, realize it right now, right here, and as myself. And the tremendous claim of Advaita Vedanta, of, again, Buddhism, is that it's possible. It's possible. I'm not guaranteeing enlightenment in the next 14 minutes. It's relentless. But what I'm saying is, it's this much is the minimum we can hope for. A certain kind of clarity about what all this is about. This timeless wisdom. Aldous Huxley called it the perennial philosophy. 5,000 years ago, our ancestors got it right. So how does it go? Just pay attention to what I'm saying and pay attention to our own experience, and we'll begin to see what they're talking about. There are different ways of realizing this. These are, in Sanskrit, they are called viveka. Viveka means a kind of analytical seeing. So I'm going to do 3 of these analytical seeings, if I have time, or at least 2 of them, 2 of these vivekas, let's say. The first one is pretty simple. The distinction between the eternal and the non-eternal. Nitya, anitya, eternal and non-eternal. It just means, notice how things change. Our bodies have changed. What you were as a baby, as a toddler, as an adolescent, middle-aged person, now this senior person, an aged person, the body has changed dramatically. And yet, I have this instinctive, atavistic feeling, I was that baby. I was in that body. I was in the child's body. A senior nun once told me that she was walking past a shop front window in Santa Barbara, and she looked at the window and she said, "Who's that old lady?" The time goes by so fast. She says, it was just 40 years ago that I was this young girl coming into the convent to become a nun. And it's 40 years. The body has changed dramatically. I have the absolute sure feeling that I was, this I am. I have not changed. Everything changes and passes away. And yet you are the knower of the change. Nagasena, the famous Buddhist monk who goes to this king, and the king complains to the monk that he has so many problems, the enemies are threatening, there's a famine in the kingdom, and the ministers are incompetent, and the prince is dissolute and not capable of taking over the kingdom. And the monk says, "O king, this too shall pass." And years later, many years later, the monk, now an old monk, he's passing through the kingdom, and he meets the king, who is also very old by that time. And "How are you? How's the kingdom?" And the king says, "Oh, things are much better by your grace, by your blessings. Enemies have become friends, and the ministers are competent, and there is plenty of food in the kingdom. And the prince has shaped up quite well. I'm thinking he's going to be a good king." And the monk said, "O king, this too shall pass." It passes. And yet, you who are the knower of that passing, the changing world, people come and go out of our lives. They change and they grow old and they die and they go away. Changing body, changing mind. Our minds change continuously. From the morning till now, how many times? Excited, bored, irritated, happy, expectant. So many changes from the morning till this afternoon in one course of one day. How much the mind changes. And yet that bored person, I was. This excited person, I hope, I am. So all of these changes, I am the unchanging experiencer of this changing world, body, mind. Now this is one way of looking at it. Just stay with this feeling. The sense of an unchanging experiencer, of a changing world and a body and a mind. This is one viveka. The second one is what is called drigdrishya viveka, the seer and the seen. It's one of my favorites. It's pretty powerful. What it says is, that which experiences cannot be the one which is experienced. Just as the eyes see this glass of water, so the eyes and the glass must be different. If something is not different from our eyes, the eyes cannot see that. Do we see that? This has to be at a distance from the eyes, some different entity, then only the eyes can see it. In the same way, our bodies, if you think about the body, I am the experiencer of the body. Clearly, I can see it, touch it. If it's a very hot and sweaty day, you can even smell it. So the body is experienced. The body is an object for all of my senses. All 5 of my senses can objectify this body. That which is an object, the experienced object, and I, the experiencer, I cannot be the same thing. I am not the body because I experience the body as a thing. A doctor from Edinburgh just recently wrote to me. He's been a doctor for 2 decades now, and he wrote to me saying that I had an epiphany just a few days ago when I was looking at the charts of some patient's body, the scans, and he thought, I have been seeing this all my life for the last 20, 30 years. And suddenly I had this epiphany. Nowhere in this physical system, this musculature, this digestive system, these bones, these nerves, nowhere I am. None of this is me. It's a thing. You might say, that's simple. Duh, what's there to it? But when you have that powerful epiphany, this powerful clinging to the body, that I am this thing, it suddenly falls away. It can be scary. It can be harrowing. I am not this. It's a thing. It's an object. I am not the body. Why? Because I see it. Even more powerfully and even more scary, I am not the mind. I am not the mind. Why? Because I see it. My thoughts, feelings, perceptions, ideas, memories, even my personal story, my narrative, am I not aware of it? You say, yes, so if I am aware of it, it's an object. It's a thing, as much of a thing as this. Our memories, our precious ideas, our philosophies, they're also things, subtle things, not physical things like this, but subtle things. But no matter, they are objects. And being objects, I am the experiencer of the object. I am not an object. I cannot, just as I am not the glass because I see the glass, I am not my mind because I see my mind. See, of course, in the sense of introspection. The mind is also an object. Drigdrishya. Drig means the seer. Drishya means that which is seen. The seer and the seen cannot be the same thing. Now notice one thing. The unchanging experiencer and the changing world, body and mind, and the seer and the seen body and mind, this unchanging experiencer and the seer, they're the same thing. When we look inside, we're talking about the same thing. I have time to do one more viveka. It's like a full year's course packed into 20 minutes. This one is subtle, but really fun. Conscious, not conscious. It's almost like seer and seen, but it's different. If I ask you, look at this glass. You're aware of this glass. You're seeing it. On which side is consciousness? You on your side or here? You will say, yeah, I am conscious of the glass. I don't know if the glass is conscious of me. I don't know, but I am conscious of it. So in my experience of the glass, consciousness is here, not there. Okay. One step closer. Look at your own hand. If you do that, now ask yourself the question, where is consciousness? Am I conscious of the hand or is the hand conscious of me? Is the hand saying, hello there, we haven't done this in a long time? No, it never does that. That would be creepy. I am conscious of the hand, absolutely. So, I'm conscious of this hand, and this parts of the body, these parts of the body. Every part of the body is something that I am conscious of. The body is not conscious of me, the conscious entity. Consciousness is always on your side, never on the side of the experienced entity. I am conscious, and that is not conscious. In Sanskrit, this is called chit jada. Sentient, insentient. The analysis between sentient and insentient. If you stay like that, here is the most startling thing. Even the mind is not conscious. That is something very stunning in a Western context. I get this all the time in the university there, because the mind and consciousness are usually taken together. But it's a very simple experiment. Think a thought right now. I know, when you try to think, no thought comes. The mind is, is mischievous in that way. When you want to stop thinking, it will not stop thinking. When you, mind, give me a thought, no thought. 2 plus 2 is 4. Just think, 2 plus 2 is 4. Hold that thought in your mind. 2 plus 2 is 4. Now ask yourself the question, is 2 plus 2 4 aware of me, or am I aware of 2 plus 2 4? So obviously I'm aware of 2 plus 2 4. 2 plus 2 4 is just like mental talk. I'm aware of it. Are you with me? Okay. I'm aware of it. 2 plus 2 4 is not aware of me. Clearly it's a movement in the mind of vritti, which I am aware of. That is not aware of me. I am conscious, even the mind is not conscious. The mind appears to be conscious by my light, by the light of the self. But even the mind is not conscious. You are the consciousness apart from the body, mind, because you are unchanging, 1. Because you are the seer, 2. Because you are awareness, 3. The world, body, and mind are changing, the seen, and not aware. Because of this, you are this consciousness. Okay, 3 minutes. We have done the first step in 2 steps to the not 2. Whatever I've said till now, I was pulling a fast one on you. Don't take it seriously. It is not true. My Advaita teacher used to say that those who keep talking about seer and seen, they are, in Hindi he would say, Kache Vedanti, they're unripe Vedantins. The second step is very important. Now Vedanta asks you, what is the relationship between you, the unchanging awareness, the seer, and the changing world, body, mind, the other? Are they really 2 separate things? Or are they actually one? How do you decide? Here is one way. There are different ways, we can talk about it. One way is, 2 things are separate if you can experience them separately. So my cloth and this glass are separate because you can see the glass separately and my cloth separately. They don't go together. But the world and consciousness, the body and consciousness, the mind and consciousness, has anybody ever experienced a world apart from consciousness? Have any of us ever experienced ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, apart from awareness? Never. The world is not, the body, mind, and world are not experienceable, are not facts apart from consciousness. When I say it like that, it sounds crazy. But this is what Advaita Vedanta is claiming. That this inner awareness, this light, is the reality which appears as its own object. You, that one unchanging consciousness, you alone appear as this changing world. You appear, the self appears as its other. This world which we experience is nothing apart from us. The other is nothing apart from you, the self. This world is your own. There is nobody here who is a stranger. Just like in a dream, every person, object, animal that you see in the dream is nothing apart from you, the dreamer. You're appearing in all those ways. Consciousness is appearing as its own object, and this is the festival of consciousness, which we call our life, our universe. Yeah. This oneness is what non-duality is all about. The world, the self, the changing world, body, mind, the experienced world, body, mind, the non-aware world, body, mind is not a second thing apart from you, the unchanging, seer awareness. Second step, not 2. Thank you.